Hi, I'm live. I'm a little bit early, but there's already folks in the room, Linda and Mimi. And this is going to one of the questions I got was, could I show some psychic exercises or some ways to build your intuition? Um, there are several things you can do, and I'll do it when I'm training people on stuff. So we're going to talk about some of that today. It is going to be fun and games. I'm going to talk for a minute before to hope to get enough of you in here so that I don't have to go over it all again at the end. Um, I'm going to put up the website, and I'll put it up now because then you can have them if you really want to copy it down. This is the dowsing form site I found. It's done by a French company, but if you type in that https www.subtil.net, if you put the /en, it puts it into the English form. Otherwise, you can see that site if you speak another language and you've been tussling with the sites I've been sending people to. What I like about that particular dowsing chart site is it has literally, I have never been able to find a question that could be done with dowsing that they didn't have a chart for. And the way they get their charts is people design them themselves. They have a problem. They want to know, where's my frequency? Should I be with, what is my forest critter that works with me? And they all have it on every chart in the world. The first time I found this site was 3 years ago, and I found it with Andrea from Lilac Lantern. I told her about it, and she and I got on it, and we spent like 2 days just copying down dowsing charts. I mean, literally, there are hundreds there. That's why I'm not going to try to copy everything that's on that website. You can go there if you're really interested in dowsing charts, and dowsing is pendulums. And somebody said, how can I practice? What can I learn? How do you build your intuition? Well, you you go in and you go to that site and you just start playing with the pendulum chart. And pendulums to me are they're quick, and you can kind of grab them, and they always I feel like more like I'm playing when I'm dealing with the pendulums or the dowsing charts. Although some of the stuff in the dowsing charts can be totally serious. They have a whole section on to deal with homeopathic medicine, and you can go see which is the best thing for me to use. If you want to use a dowsing chart to figure that out, you can figure out you can tarot is not real good at timing. That's every tarot reader's dodge. I can't tell you when it's going to happen because tarot cards don't do time well. And it's true, they don't do time well. We're not making that up. But with these dowsing charts, they have some that you can see this year, which month, which day, which time. I mean, they have it down to the day and the time. If you want to use your dowsing charts that way. I've never used mine that much that way. I just use it to play. I just enjoy having something I don't have to worry about and just let it swing and let it do its thing. But I'm going to show you, in case you've been on some planet other than Earth and have never seen a full dowsing chart. I have to clear my workspace up because I was pulling stuff out to show you, and I didn't leave myself enough space for me to be able to show you, which is not a good thing. And we will see when I turn the camera on how close this is. So I guess we're going to start with pendulums. Actually, we're going to start with people's questions. This is where it came from. Do you have any intuition games or exercises? Spacey Angel. So this whole show is going to be an answer to your question. So get ready for it. Oyster Diva left me a whole lot of emojis. I want to thank you for the support. I can't show them. They come up as garbage when I try to copy them over to this. And I've got the subtil. Oh, And Marilyn Stroh loves it when we open up the forum like this, and so does Janice. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so now I don't have to worry about coming over and dealing with comments anymore. And this is going to be the fun and game show. So now we're going to go to my other camera, and the one that's on my desk. There it is. And yes, you can see it. You can see the whole thing. Now, this is a dowsing garden that Danny and I kind of created when we were looking at all these dowsing charts years ago. And on the very bottom of this is the one that's available on my crystal directions and resources. In the resources folder, you can pull this off and print it off for yourself. And one of the things Danny and I put on this is, do I have permission to dowse? Which is the first question you should ask. Am I aligned with my higher self? Which is the second question you should answer. And then always ask, am I fully protected? And I think I've told the story last week. So if you've heard it before, plug your ears. I don't care. I went over to do Halloween at Gretchen's at Dolly Python's, just as a favor to the owner of the store. As kind of a gift from me to her. And I did these first two, and I'm going to do them now. Now, this for me is yes. And this for me is no. So it was, do I have permission to dowse? It started right away, just immediately into yes. Okay. I'm going to try to get as much of my hand out of the way as I can. Stop rocking. Get still. Am I aligned with my higher self? Yes, I am. Okay. And am I fully protected? I better be. I cleaned this place out this morning. Anyway, I was at Gretchen's, and the first two went, do I have permission to dowse? Yes. And am I aligned with my higher self? And I went, yes. And then I was sitting at the table at the place where I used to always read cards before. And all of a sudden I said, am I fully protected? And not only did it say no, but it swung so hard that way that it went across an aisle of the store. And I had to go dig it out from under a counter. And I went, oh, something's wandering in the store. So I went around with the dowsing rods and this, you can do this when people say, how do you dowse a physical space? This is how you dowse it. You go in to the space, and I guess you guys couldn't see it because I'm going to get rid of Janice's comments. Hide. Okay, then you can see the bottom. Okay. And you still may not be able to see the bottom, but I'm doing my best, kids, here. Down here on the very bottom is where those questions are. And it always, just being on the sheet, it always kind of reminds you, because you'll pick your pendulum. So I'm going to ask about, you really need to kind of clear and make sure now's the time to do it. If you wanted to dowse a physical space, you can walk around with the space with the pendulum in your hand, get it still, and then ask if it's safe. And you ought to know what yes and no is for you at that point. If it circles or does no, then that might be a space you want to open. If you want to open yourself up or try to sense what's really going on there. When Tim Walter, the guy who does dowsing in England, and he dowses houses, and he teaches people how to cleanse houses and how to clear them out. It also helps if you have a little bit of a spray with you, or some sage, or some stuff makes them want to go away, so that you can be okay. But he will, if I were to send him a map of my condo and say, this looks like every condo in the world. Okay, this is where my office is. And this is where my bedroom is. And then this just a little laundry room here, LR. And then it goes, you go straight down here. There's bathrooms, and it kind of cuts back. And then this is the kitchen, and that's all I'm going to draw. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of how dull my house is. Okay, what he would do is he would get, and you guys can't see that at all because I did it with pencil. Now maybe you can see it a little bit better. But anyway, I marked each space, and then he will take his dowsing pendulum, and he'll go, is the office safe? And it goes, yes. Okay, and then he'll go, is the kitchen safe? And it's not telling me much of anything. Is the kitchen safe? Is my kitchen safe to go eat food in? Well, that's tacky. Is my bedroom safe? Okay, my bedroom's safe. And is the laundry room safe? One of those more high-risk areas of your house is meant. And actually it says no. And my laundry room, it's okay, safe. I just need to go in and do some laundry. But you can go around a house now. If you're doing a serious house, like, is this whole house safe? Then you need to spend more time and be more concentrated on it. But you can, if you spot a trouble area, you can go, then go sage there. The pendulum I was using is one that was made for me years ago, and it's got every color of the chakra in it. A couple stones have fallen off, which I figured they wanted to go somewhere else. But I've used it forever, and I love this kind of chain. This kind of chain will not knot up. And that's been my problem with most other pendulums and chains. They knot up. This is a black obsidian that I also carry with me in the same bag. I carry that one. And see, which way is yes? Okay. Which way is no? Okay. And I have a little threesome pendulums, and I had them out the other day. Yeah, they're here. And these are good if you, I don't want you to go, you don't have to spend any money at all. You can go get a necklace and you can have a pendulum, guys. And these have pretty good chains on them. They don't knot up either. This one's made out of wood. And it came with a little booklet that explains the whys and wherefores of the materials they're made from. This one is made out of a quartz and then metal, and it's quite heavy. And this one's completely metal, and this is very heavy. And when I go out and I douse around Hogarth outside, the wind won't knock this one. It only moves when there's something for it to move about, okay? So, and it came, and I'm not pushing the product. I mean, go on. It may not even still be there. But it was, this is the dowsing pendulum, and it comes with a little book that kind of just tells you everything I told you. Quite honestly, if you have to write down what's in this book, you don't understand it, maybe you shouldn't be using a pendulum. Their pendulums are real simple to use, but you have to understand you're inviting the energy of the universe around you and through you. And I feel like it's through you also, because it's steadying your hand so that you won't read what your will says to be read. And so that's pendulum. So this is this show, for those of you who've arrived a little bit late, is called Fun and Games. And it came from a request from someone who said, do I have intuition games that people can play with to learn, to just try to, everybody's waking up and they're like, am I really waking up? Is that really happening? And trust me, I understand that. I've been this way my whole life, and I wake up that way every morning. Is this really happening? When I used to read cards, hi Flower Beauty, hi Dr. Gail, hi Carol, hi Dragonfly, hi Brenda, hi Jana, hi Lori Hunsinger, and everybody else I've said hi to that's here. That's in the chat. If you're not in the chat, and if you're watching me and you watch me all the time and you get all this sort of free information, and then you don't have to go read the book, but you haven't subscribed, you are not a good person for my channel. I mean, you can continue to watch my channel, but I'm just saying, please subscribe. We know that some readers say it's as low as 35%. I don't know. Last time tech support looked was a couple of years ago, and I had about 40% of the people who watched my channel actually subscribed. And subscribing doesn't cost you anything except that I send you notices when I'm going to have a show. So this show is called Fun and Games. And we're going to look at this quote. This is from a scroll that was charred when Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. And it came from the library of Philodemus, Epicurean philosopher. And Epicureans, we use it about foods, but Epicureans were sort of everything of good taste and how to live a good life. And he was my age when he wrote this. He was an old codger. And this was translated or found 3 years ago. There's a group that found out how to go into the scrolls that were so charred. If you try to take them apart, they fall apart. They're going through layer by layer and using some sort of science to read the text that's on them. It's absolutely wonderful. We're finding out all kinds of stuff we didn't know that they wrote about before. Anyway, I love this quote for him. Persuading the people who are listening to him to sort of relax, find good friendships, and spend your time living in the moment and enjoying pleasures. And he was saying this was the more valuable thing for someone to do. If you're persuading people who are listening to you to find good friendships, spend time living in the moment, enjoying pleasures. And that's what this show's kind of about. It's how do we play with this stuff? How do we play with our emerging sensibilities and our being empaths? How do we learn to live with it? How, and I would hope everyone would want to do it in a way that would persuade people to listen to find good friendship, spend your time living in the moment and enjoying pleasures. It sounds like that's what the universe is telling to us to do right now, to enjoy our life more and to get on with life better and to just have a good time. Okay, so I kind of covered dowsing. Games you can play with dowsing. I was going to set this up, but I have all my teacups look different. Every single one of them looks different. I don't know how I did it, but I have a whole cabinet full of teacups, and absolutely none of them look like the other one. But there's a thing that in some books when I was learning about dowsing that I ran across, where they said to take two or three similar cups, put a stone or a crystal or something under one of the cups, and then do that thing that they do where you find the ping pong ball, and they shuffle the cups around and just do it mindlessly, and then hold your pendulum over and ask the pendulum if the object you're looking for is in that cup. And you'll begin to sense and feel, when you're not just sort of giggling and sitting and playing, but when you're really doing it, how to sense what's in that cup. And you can use your pendulum to find it. You can also play that game if you want to do it with a friend, and you can just do it to practice your skills, to practice your intuition. So that for those people who say, but I want to know I'm right. I want to know, well, first of all, you're going to know you're right when you lift the cup, and that's sort of an instant fix on that. A lot of times there's things you're going to read. You're not going to know if you're right until things happen, but that's a good way to practice and kind of get into dealing with your instincts. So now we're going to go to, well, how can I sense? What are my senses? And there are 8 clair senses. And there's clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. There's claircognizance, which is clear knowing. There's clairaudience, which is clear hearing. There's clear empathy, which is clear emotional feeling. That's when you're feeling it from your heart. There's also these ones that make me crazy. This one, clairgustance, clear tasting. That's when a lot of people tell me, when they had a family member come back, I could taste the kind of food that grandma always made, and that's how they knew she was there. Or clairsentience, a clear physical feeling. I'm clairsentient. I just know in my body that it's right. Have these, I don't have to use the more typical senses. Then there's clairtangency, which is clear touching. And this is the one that a lot of people start with, and it's kind of at the bottom because it goes away. It can go away quickly. It's clairalience, and that's clear smelling. And I can't tell you the number of people who told me their first contact with someone and they knew exactly who was in the room with them when there was nothing else in the room with them. They could smell their pipe smoke or their cigarette smoke or their perfume. Early in my career, when I was working with cards, a lady invited me to her house and she wanted me to come read at her house and so I could have privacy. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought, okay, I'll go over and read at her house. Well, she didn't tell me that her house was haunted. And I kept smelling this perfume going around me. And the house kind of made, for after a while, the perfume made me uncomfortable. The house made me uncomfortable. And she told me the real reason she'd asked me to come over and she didn't want to talk about it in public was she and her husband were going to get a divorce and she was very upset about the divorce. And I told her I was really sorry that that was going on. And, and she said, and the weirdest thing was that she was talking to her neighbors who had built their house in the late 60s. Now, this, mind you guys, this was in the 70s. I was doing in the 60s, this couple had built the house next to theirs. And the woman who lived next door had finally come over and told her every couple that ever lived in that house got divorced from the very first couple that lived there. But she said the very first couple didn't get along and everybody could hear them fighting up and down the street. And apparently their energy never left that house. And I'm sure that the perfume I was smelling was the woman who had lived in that house at first. And the older neighbor had told her there was a big fight between the husband and the wife about who got the house. And she said, I was so sorry. She said, I'm so sorry that happened to you because we were hoping you and your husband seemed so happy. And she said, they had been married over 20 years. They'd been completely happy till they moved in that house. And so I'm not real fond of smelling ghosts. Well, and I smelled a ghost later, and she was just in the vintage store watching over her garments. And my daughter talked to her, and she seemed like a very nice lady. Anyway, just telling you, clairalience is a thing, clear smelling. But if you get a feeling about any of these, now I agree, someone said they don't like someone blowing smoke in their face. I don't either, but there was a whole generation that I was raised by where everybody, for the most part, people smoked. My mother smoked. My dad never did. I had two husbands who smoked, and they quit smoking while they were married to me because eventually I couldn't stand being around the smoke anymore. But it's kind of pick your poison. But that's the clair. So when people say, what clair are you? You can be all of them. I think because I'm clairsentient, I am all of them. I think I can have all of them. Sometimes you're only going to hear things. Sometimes you're only going to, and claircognizance is good because you just know it. And it's kind of difficult to explain to people how you just know what you know, and you didn't read it in a book, and it wasn't published somewhere. So there are the clairs, for those of you who wanted to know about that. And I'm not getting much questions from anybody. But when we're living in times where everyone's changing and everyone's evolving, and I've been listening to some readers talking about how we're developing another strand of DNA and all that other stuff. It's all happening so fast. So this might give you sort of a framework or a way to go, look, you can Google the word clair, And after you get past the people who have that name, you get to this stuff and you can read some more about it and figure out maybe where you want to go with it. And let's see where I am. Okay, and then people, all different readers use different kinds of cards. And I have pulled kind of a group of my cards. That's why I wasn't set up for. Okay. Cards sort of come in two varieties. You have oracle cards. This is an oracle deck. These cards are made up images, and oracle cards can be anything. This is angels and auras, and it works with that frequency for you if you want to read those. This is an oracle deck to raise your vibrations. And I use these at the end of readings to pull for people to kind of see where we are. I'll pull something out of each one of them so you can kind of see what they're like. This is one of my favorite oracle decks. It's the secret language of color. And the inspirational things off these cards are absolutely gorgeous. And then the other oracle deck I pulled so I could have a complete understanding of them is crystals, shamanic crystals. Now, in particular, these are shamanic crystals. So, yeah, oil painter, it's kind of hard to see the images if you're driving down the road. I agree. Please don't look. We want you to be on the next show. We're going to start with the Raise Your Vibration, which is a Kyle Gray deck. And Kyle makes, some of his decks are like this one. Some of them are very figurative and have lots of pictures in them. This deck is not that deck. And this came from his statement, raise your vibration. And it's raise your vibrations is the mantra that calls me to light up my life. Okay. And one of the cards in here is it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel what you need to feel. I mean, you may be in a day that, and I've had lots of days recently that I pulled that card. Just feel what I feel and do what I want to do. And this is one that a lot of people are going to have to learn. It's okay to shine. It's okay to be independent and shine. But his thing's all sorts of, and they're all kinds of abstract drawings. This one, I trust my gift. It's like you're going down in a portal, trusting your gift. What oracle decks are is they're created by the person who designs them, and sometimes they come up with the ideas and they work with artists to design them. I know that's how Kyle does because I've seen him. And there's 48 cards in here. And in the typical tarot deck, there's 78. And in the typical tarot deck, I'll explain why these are just what the author felt that you needed to know. You can, Jana, okay. I'm going to show you this because this refers. You can plasticize that. If you get my, once it's yours, once you've printed it, once you've made it yours, you can do what you want. That's not going to change how it's going to work. Trust me. I have some work pieces that are so torn up and work sheets that are mine. I mean, all I needed to go is into the right file and find it again to print it better. Okay, so now we're going on to the next oracle deck, and this is the one that's the secret world of color. And I can't tell you, this is like pearl, and it's pearls, and it's just, if you pull that and it says pearl, it says connect with the divine is what pearl means to her. And she has an excellent book on how to decode her deck, or you can just pull a card and do what you want to do. But they're pretty easy to find because she put them in numerical order. Thank God. I actually have one where you have to go to the index and find out where it is. That's not fun. Pearl is a special shade of white that calms and purifies. It promotes faith. Anyway, she has these kinds of descriptions for every color that's in here. And you guys, in case you're wondering what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to give you a taste of what different kinds of decks you can go. You can go online and see them and figure out which one you might. And this is tangerine, and this is be spontaneous and free, which I think the color tangerine makes you feel that way. This is azure blue, and its vibration is protect yourself. And the way I'll use this is at the end of this show, I'll pull one card from each of you, and I'll read whatever card I pull. I'll read some of their explanation. But I cannot tell you if you're starting to work with cards and you're starting to try to understand, especially if you're working with the Rider-Waite deck, her colors match closely the colors that are prominent in the Rider-Waite deck. So then the other, and Oracle cards are easy. Oracle cards are easy because you pull them out and they are what they are for the most part. And of course, you can always see things in it that others might not see when they're looking at them, but they're just beautiful. And this is the Shamanic Crystals Oracle. So this has got Oracle stuff in it. It's got the colors in it. They're beautiful. They're beautiful, thick, heavy cards. They're hard to shuffle because they're great big. But in this one, okay, they kind of have strange drawings. They're very, I don't know what they used to, I don't know if a person drew them or if they did it with AI, but this is sodalite. And sodalite in the crystals is, and I opened the book right to it. How interesting. See, there's a whole page that says sodalite. Sound the drums, voices singing, dancers manifesting, around a fire, howling of wolves, echoing ceremonial hymns to releasing the true essence of the starlit sky, the freedom to be oneself regardless of the judgment of others. I am the spirit of sodalite. And come to me, liberate and transform your ego into the communications that is constructive, authentic, sincere, and first and foremost, you. So sodalite's about you. And in the Oracle Garden, one of the 5 stones we throw in is sodalite, and it's for clarity. And it works that way. And it's got ocean jasper. It's got watermelon tourmaline, which I have some pieces of. Watermelon tourmaline is very protective. If you want to have a stone you can wear. And it also has a couple things like, as you all know, a lot of people say that they get white feathers that lead them to there's a description of white feathers. So it's not just crystals, but it is shamanic images. And Botswanan agate. Okay. I do not have a piece of Botswanan agate, may I say. Okay. And I'm going to warn you, when you have these kind of things, put them back in their boxes right away, unless you're leaving them out and you have a place to put them, because otherwise you will end up with 4,000 cards sitting around you going nowhere. Now, none of those Oracle cards I show you can be reversed. This Oracle deck, Angels and Auras, and the irony of this is it was designed by Radley Valentine and Dougal Fraser. And I actually went to a 2-day seminar and watched and talked with Radley at the time. Radley does not allow reverses in any of his tarot decks. And you've seen me read from his tarot decks. You've seen me read from this deck, Archangel Power Tarot cards. And these cards are never to be read in reverse. And the pictures vary, but the reason. Who is this rude person? It's that nasty scam person. Wait a minute, let's see if I can turn the bell off. I had the bell on because Sean went to Wisconsin yesterday. I just hung up on him. Maybe they'll get the hint. You can tell this can't be reversed because when you look at the back of this card, it's not the same, right? If you look at your tarot decks, you'll find out almost all of them, no matter which way you turn them, on the back of the card, you can't tell which way is up. That's how you can tell if a card should be reversed. These cards should not be reversed. And this is a tarot deck. Bradley doesn't reverse images, he says, till he comes up with this shiny deck. And I don't know whether it was Dougal who did it or him. But here's one of the cards, and they're just gorgeous drawings. It's called See the Humor. And it means sometimes the universe likes to surprise us with curveballs and change plans. You become the master at adapting to those things joyfully. Try to help others see the humor in their situation. Boy, do we need to see the humor now. This is part of your life purpose, and it helps lift spirits of those around you. Now, the shadow message, that's what they call their reverse. If you pulled that card out of it this way, there is a shadow message, and the shadow message is serious perspective, negativity, and being grumpy. And it says, when this card shows up in your life reversed or inverted, they call it, life may feel like a roller coaster, many ups and downs. It can make you laugh. It can make you a little sick to your stomach. Sometimes you just have to laugh. It has occurred to you that your guardian angels have a sense of humor, so they're sending you all this fun. Because they do. What is the absurdity of the situation? Can you find something about it that makes you giggle? Because laughter lightens the load. So each card in this one, you get, I think there's 40 some cards. There's 44 cards in this deck, but you have a possibility of 88 different readings because it reverses. And it's the only oracle deck I've ever seen that was published. And that doesn't mean it's not, there aren't other ones out there that I've seen that I can relate to. So that's kind of the difference between oracle cards and tarot cards. Oracle cards, I don't think I've ever had an oracle deck that was 78, but all the rest of the tarot cards are the ones you're used to seeing, the Rider-Waite ones, the ones that have the more typical forms. They have 78 cards. You can either read reverses or not read reverses, and that's a whole show unto itself, by the way, whether you read reverses. But they have common images, like all of the tarot decks will have some sort of Queen of Wands. They may not call her the Queen of Wands. They may call her the Queen of Rods. They may call her, they may have made up new suits for cups and swords and stuff, but there'll be 78 cards. If you look at a Rider-Waite deck, you should be able to find the equivalent person in that deck. And I believe tarot can be read right side up or upside down, or inverted or not inverted. That depends on you. I mean, and I when I teach it, when I'm teaching, which Jeffrey and I started last Thursday, if you want to get in, you can still get in because we haven't gotten into the tarot part. That starts this Thursday, and we can teach you the numerology really quickly. That becomes a private tutorial. Enough of the advertising. Okay, so now people take the tarot and they adapt it to all kinds of fun situations that you can relate to, like this deck. It's called the Housewives Tarot. Fun. And in this deck, the High Priestess is like Aunt Jemima. She's the secret syrup of life. And I'm trying to find another. And the Five of Pentacles is not those people standing in the cold outside the church. It's this lady, all of her plates are falling down and breaking, and she's stressed out. Death, I think, is particularly good in this deck. It's a jar of bad mayonnaise. And it's got things around it like it's got real salmonella. Everything expires that comes near this jar. I used to love reading with this deck. They made the Hierophant, the old TV, the old 1950s TV. All of the images on here are images from the 1950s. The star is she's made a perfect pie. Her planning has worked out. Now these cards you can read right side up or upside down, depending on what you want. Oh, I love the tower. The tower. Do any of you guys remember those gelatin desserts they used to make where they made it the skirt of something and it had like a little doll at the top? That's the tower. It's something that's not very stable and probably going to fall down. Anyway, it's judgment. I like judgment. It's someone looking at herself on a scale, and she thinks she's a slab of beef. I used to read with these a lot at the vintage store because there's a lot of vintage stuff there, and some of their images are different. Like the Seven of Wands is, it's a card of confusion, and usually it means a person doesn't have the right tools to do what they need to do. Well, in this case, the Seven of Wands are 7 toilet brushes circling around the toilet. It's certainly not. And did anybody else have a pink toilet in their house? I did. My mom did. I didn't have a pink toilet. And you clean it with you can clean it with the toothbrushes, but you do better to reconsider and figure out how to do it a different way. And the sun is 2 perfectly fried, sunny side up eggs. Where's my other? Oh, I love this one. The Hermit. You just pull off and go be by yourself. Calgon, take me away. I'm going to have a spa day. Anyway, it's just full of all kinds of fun images, and it's a good way to relook at how we view things. And where's the cake? The Wheel of Fortune is a roulette wheel. The World is a completely full recipe box with all the recipes in it. Anyway. So, you can find different decks, and if that's your style and you like the 1950s, then maybe that's a good deck to look at. Let's see. And I have this deck. I think if you want to learn tarot and you want to kind of practice by yourself, this is a good deck. It's called Life is Like a Board Game, and it looks suspiciously like Monopoly because it's suspiciously like Monopoly. I'm trying to think. Oh, this is the Five of Pentacles. And Five of Pentacles, as you know, those 2 poor people trudging through the snow in the middle of a difficult time. And it's called Struggle Avenue. And the reason I like this deck is, this is the Five of Cups, and that's where 3 cups are spilt, but 2 are still left behind. And it's called Damn That Sucks Place. And supporter of ambitions in business is the Queen of Wands, and she supports business and things going on. The High Priestess is, of course, a crystal ball. 9 of Swords, you know that one. That's where the person can't sleep. It's called anxiously stressed out way. And the reason I think it's a good deck to kind of learn from is I don't think there's a definition on these cards that doesn't match or can't come close if you're trying to learn to read the cards. And they're instantly there in front of you. And they're not giving you a whole lot of different definitions. And they're not giving you anything else visually that you like. This is the 6 of Cups. That's nostalgia place. So it's a good way if you want to kind of build up your ability to understand. I use these a lot with Scott when I'm doing political readings because it just says what it says and there's no screwing around about it. So, and I like it for that reason. And I have all my cat and kitty cards. I have a lot of small tarot decks that I collect decks, guys. I have these are kitten cards. They're real pretty. These are my bunny cards, and bunny cards make reading about anything easier. They're cute little images. So what I think I'm going to do, does anybody have questions? Because I'm not seeing any questions show up in caps in a way that I understand that's a question. And I'm going to put up a statement, and this comes from notes from Penny Pierce's book on frequencies. This comes from the introductory chapter to her book about personal vibrations. This book was published in 2009, and I've had this book forever. I picked it up at the Half Price bookstore, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. I'll check that out. And that was right after. It's right when we were fighting for ACA and Obamacare. And these are the points I want to talk about because some of what I learned in her book is what I've always tried to base my show on. And it's how our spirit grows. Spirit merges with the body, emotions, and mind. And I can totally relate to that because when I was little and no one understood what I was seeing and no one wanted to listen to what I said was going to happen, I kind of split apart. And I often think in my early years, I had my spirit was behind me in a helium-filled balloon, just kind of watching the little girl go through what she had to go through to get to that point. But as I grew older, I finally merged my spirit with my body, emotions, and my mind, and began to realize that within the structure of spirit, all 3 of those exist. And then when you do that, the frequencies in your life change, and it actually increases, which I didn't know that was going to happen, but that's okay. The third part is personal and collective unconscious mind empties. And so you're trying to make your personal mind, your unconscious mind, fit with the collective mind of the world, the real world, the 3D world going on around us. It empties. You don't do that anymore. And then you retrench and you refortify and you resist. And for part of the times, you have to kind of learn how to resuppress. Trust me, when I was living in the corporate world and I could hear what was really going on in people's brains, I could not tell them what I was seeing because that was a surefire way to get fired. But it did work to my advantage when I had some bosses trying to set me up to create paperwork to screw up an audit from a state of Kentucky, if you want to go back and find them. And they wanted me to forge paperwork. And I took the 3 men who tried to talk me into doing that aside, each personally, and told them I knew exactly what they were up to. And I'd actually looked up the Kentucky law. And as long as I recorded it and left it in a way that was clearly recorded, that a court could use it against them and they wouldn't put me in jail. They put them in jail. And that stopped them trying to get me to forge. This is a true story. And meanwhile, may I say, I had an unemployed ex-husband. I had no way to take care of my kids except my paycheck. And I was the sole breadwinner. And I had to go in and say that to them. But I wasn't going to go down for it. Old structures break down and dissolve. Well, I left that job later, not that day. You stop, you let go, you relax, and become your truest self. I stopped, I let go. And all of a sudden, a business I was really happy doing, I did for 20 years. I went in and helped people redo small jobs in their condos and their houses and their apartments and stuff. And I had a wonderful time doing it. I made enough money to survive. And I for the most part, totally enjoyed it because all the jobs I'd had before then, it was something that was going to come true in the future. But when I worked in people's houses and I painted a room and made it the color they wanted, or I did a lot of faux finishes, I did a lot of wall coverings. You walk in and you see you've transformed this room, you've made it something new, and it's great. It's great fun. I couldn't do it now because I couldn't climb the ladder. Anyway, then you will reemerge into the world like a phoenix. And that did happen. When I left, when I finally couldn't do the house thing anymore, I turned around and there was I dusted off my master's degree in accounting and computer science and became executive director for a statewide agency in Texas. That's 7. Then 8, relationships, family, and group experiences will be revolutionized. And that's out of working with that group is how I ended up in politics. And then I left politics to go into what I do now, which enlightenment is grounded in every bit that matters about me. So I'm telling you, I read this book in 2009. And it doesn't have to take as long as it took for me to get there. But this is how we're emerging. And some of us are further ahead in the game than others. But as long as you're on the track and you're trying to change, it can make a difference for you. So for all of us who are on Penny Pierce's frequency thing, remove. Okay. I'm going to pick an oracle card from each of those decks I pulled out. And the first one I'm going to pick. Oh, before I do that, I do want to talk about one thing. I have a lot of tarot decks that are about crystals. And this deck, if you want to learn the meaning of crystals and the meaning of the tarot deck, this is probably the best deck I've ever worked with. You don't see me work with it publicly much because it takes thinking. Is there a link to Penny Pierce's book? No, dear. You saw how to spell her name. It's Penny, Peirce. If you put that in, you will find it. I know it's still out there. I know it's still available. And you can find it there. Let's see, did I in a sense of, well, okay, wait a minute. Nope. The best I could do was for you to put the ticker up for the subteal shows. I have to do these all by myself, and trust me, I'm not the world's best producer, and I knew that when I started. But we're going to pull first from Shamanic Crystals and see what we get. By the way, I did a whole show 2 or 3 years ago on Penny Pierce's book. And I went into all the other things she talks about, the different kinds of experiences you can go through while you're changing. But I think now, used to be an argument with people, am I going to change? I don't think that's an argument anymore. I think people know they're going to change. Oh, we got adventurine. And I don't know if you know this, but adventurine can be all kinds of colors. It's a wonderful stone. And it is at the very beginning of the alphabet. So, oh, and he's such a cute little guy riding on that turtle. And Welcome, dear soul. Here I am. Here I am. Look at me. I can make you smile. Yes, I am the spirit of adventuring, and I will give you the message. Breathe, smile, smile, smile again and again. No, I'm not joking. I'm coming along with my dear and wise old friend Turtle, who will tell you you need to change your attitude towards life. You worry too much, which is absolutely true about people right now. You are approaching your relationships too seriously. Your expectations are too high as a result. It's inevitable that we will be disappointed, but then we get to rediscover the art of letting go. Now, isn't that a good way to look at this? So I'm disappointed with you. Well, this gives me another opportunity to learn how to let go. Hold for a second, guys. It won't let me turn the ringer off. It wants me to send them the message. I can't send them the message I want to. It starts with an F and ends with a U. I'm going to turn it off, see if I can get it off. Power off. Okay. I think I turned the power off. It won't ring if the power's not running. So maybe I need to let go of my stupid phone for the day. Anyway, my turtle will help you breathe, lighten your heart, remind you to play, to loosen your body from too much tension. Afterward, you will learn how to slow down and enjoy things. Children are great teachers, and this is true. So model your behavior after them. Take yourself less seriously, laugh at yourself. May your current moments be delightful at the first experience of as the first experience of walking on grass barefoot, an irresistible tickling sensation. So that's our message from the shamanic crystals. Yay. And the secret of color. This is, like I said, this is really one of my favorite decks. And it's one I used all the time 2 years ago. I have so many decks, it's hard to find time to use them all. So we're going to pull the secret of color for our group. All 37 of you. Ooh, burgundy. And what number are you? 10. Some of these are by alphabet, some are by number. So this one's burgundy. Awaken your passions. I think that's important with what we're talking about today. Burgundy connects to your passion, vibrancy, enthusiasm for life. It leads your life into its purpose and makes you dream a new reality. Burgundy also energizes you whenever you're feeling down, showing you your path so you do not feel lost. And it says, awaken your passion with burgundy. And say, divine intelligence, please allow me to awaken my intuition, my passion, my love for life so I may fill it with extraordinary potential. That's burgundy. And like I said, work if you can, pick the one that if you appeal to, if you're colorblind, you probably don't want this deck. But if colors appeal to you and you enjoy color, then this would be a good way to go. We're going to do raise your vibrations, and then we'll do the angels and oracles, and then you, honest God, I will let you go. You can have the rest of the day to yourself. Okay. Okay. Your mind is the altar to the source of energy. And that's going to be really, I've never read this one before. So why? Oh, this is the one where you have to look it up. Your mind. So it's page 88. Reminds me of being in a library. How do you find things in the library? Remember how many classes you had to learn how to use the card catalog and stuff? If computers ever stop, we're going to be the only people who know how to find things. Your mind is a powerful space. It's like a temple of sacred space with an altar that is directly connected to the universe. Throughout your human life, you will face challenges, fear, and uncertainty. These experiences can contribute to thinking that you are facing things alone. But all of those thoughts can be placed on that altar in your mind to be connected to the source energy. Then you can invite the universe back in to support you. If you're finding certain situations particularly challenging at the moment, lay it down on that altar, add all your worries and concerns. Then you place these thoughts on the altar and you open up higher power that is able to inspire you. And the vibe from this, from doing that, is I welcome support from the universe with the thoughts that cause me concern. I think that's a perfect card for lots of crap that's happening around us today. So now we're going to go to Bradley's and see where we are. This is our last oracle card. And we are going to okay. It's spirit relationships. And it almost looks like she's in a dream. And it's number 8. 38. Okay. Spirit relationships. When this card appears right side up, all forms of spirit communications are present at this time. This may include connections with angels, mediumship, channeling from spirit guides, or simply powerful connection to your inner divine self. You're being encouraged to pay close attention to the signs of from the other side, which is what this whole show is about. So you're there. There's most likely an excitement to deepen your connection with the spirit world. It's an opportune time to explore that. Thank you, Radley, for the lovely advertisement for my show. Okay, that's what it is, kids. It's time for intuition, connection of signs, and inspiration. Have a good time doing it. Find your passion with your burgundy. And if things are just become overwhelming, put it on the altar in your mind and let the universe take care of it, because chances are very good that you won't be able to. I mean, not all on your own. It's not a you thing. It's an us thing. It's a universe thing. Thank you, everyone who came today. I really appreciate it. And as far as I know, I'm not doing another show. Last week I said I wasn't doing another show, and then Gail and I got talking, and all of a sudden I got talked into doing a show that Wednesday. But I think I'm going to take a little time off. My tarot classes have started. Their time is happening too quickly. I'm having to work on getting the program together for me to open up the membership on the Oracle Garden. I'm going to have a few free Oracle Garden classes, and then it's going to go behind membership. So, and last week I got woken up, not like someone woke me out of my bed, but I got woken up to the fact a guy asked me to do a medium reading, and I told him I really don't do that. But he was kind of Okay, I'm back. I hope you hung on. Anyway, he asked me about his brother, and I ended up doing medium work, which I don't normally do. I can do some past life work, and I can do some. And as Dr. Gale says, see, I get real confused because people say mediums do this and these people do that. I think we do all of it. Well, now I really do all of that, and I will be seeing you. I'm going to post my stuff. I'm going to have to do a couple shows talking about becoming a medium. But the brother, Matthew, that I ended up connecting with, he told me it's time. You're supposed to do this. So I guess I get to roll up the whole package and all of it. And hopefully I can help. Maybe that's where I've reached, where I needed to pull up the Penny Pierce stuff. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Have a good week. I will see some of you on Sunday morning. And as much as the news appears to go bad, what I like about watching the news maybe once a day is stuff that looked horrible yesterday. I said, oh God, universe, take care of it. And I woke up this morning and some of them have been taken care of. So anyway, y'all have a good day. Bye.